So in today's video, I'm going to be talking you through the top 10 golf-based exercises that you can incorporate into a gym routine using just dumbbells. Now the idea here is that you can incorporate all of these exercises into a gym program, whether you're using a gym or whether you're training at home, and you'll start to see improvements in things like stability, strength and power, which over time will then translate into your golf game. You will start to see improvements in mobility, so that's your ability to create movement within the golf swing, but also swing speed and distance over time. For single leg deadlifts, we're going to use one dumbbell. I'm going to take this into my right hand. I'm going to stand on my left leg for the deadlift. So my left leg is my stabilizing leg. From this position here, I'm going to soften the left knee a little bit, let that right dumbbell just sit down by the side, lift the right foot off the floor, drive my right leg slowly out behind me as I hinge forward from the hips, let the dumbbell come halfway down the shin, drive back up and through to the top. So drive the right leg out behind you, use it as a counterbalance as you hinge forwards into your deadlift, drive back up and through to the top. When you're doing dumbbell goblet squats, I'm going to show you how to do this using a box. You could use a bench or a chair at home. You're going to set up first of all, so your squat position, feet just outside shoulder width, toes turned out a little bit. I want you to think about the idea of trying to grip the floor with your feet so you create the tension through the legs. We hold the dumbbell in an underhand position, just on the top of the chest, grip the floor, control down, hit the box, drive back up and through. Control down slowly, hit the box, drive back up. When you're doing reverse dumbbell lunges, we're going to have a dumbbell in each hand. So you're going to start racking the dumbbells up, let them sit down by the side of the body. From here, I'm going to step back on my right leg, so I'm going to take a big stride back, up onto my toes, make sure I feel nice and stable, lower the back knee down towards the floor, and then drive up off the left leg. So set the position first of all, bring it down into your lunge, drive up off your front leg. So when you're working on your dumbbell rotation in the side plank, the idea is that the side plank creates the stability through your core, and then using the weight of the dumbbell, adding rotation into the movement, it's really important that you don't go too heavy. The control of the movement is key on this one. So we're going to set up in a side plank first of all. I'm going to go down onto my left hand side. I'm going to have my elbow fixed under the shoulder, one leg on top of the other, and then from here I'm going to drive the hips up to set my plank position. I'm going to take the weight, I'm going to draw it up to the top of the movement, and then from here I'm going to draw down, thread the needle through the gap here, draw back up to the top. So you control the weight on the way down, into rotation, draw back up, and pause at the top. For standing dumbbell rotations, the idea is we're going to use one dumbbell. We're going to work on torso rotation through the upper body. You're going to keep your lower body nice and stable. Okay, so taking the dumbbell, holding either side, set a nice wide stance, try and really think about gripping the feet down into the floor so you've got stability. Dumbbell out in front, start by rotating to the right, drive it across to the left, okay? Rotate to the right, drive it through. So in real time, set your position and drive from side to side, making sure that you're accelerating but also braking when you get to the end point as well. So in this tutorial we're looking at dumbbell pullovers using a bench. We're going to have the bench lengthways on. The idea is that when you set up, we're going to bring you from a seated position first of all, lower part of your shoulder blades pushing up against the bench, and then drive up into a shoulder bridge. So this bench is providing support for the upper part of the shoulder blades and just the top of the head. And when we're in this position, we're firing up through the buttocks, trying to really stabilize through the abdominals, using the weight in an underhand grip. This is your start position. Slowly bring that weight overhead. At this point here, you should feel the back of the triceps, abdominals, drive back over to the top. So it's slow and controlled, reaching up overhead, create the tension, drive back over. When you're working on the dumbbell archer row, the idea is that we're doing a dumbbell row using the bench, and we're adding a little bit of rotation through your torso and thoracic spine at the top of the movement. So I'm going to set up with the dumbbell on the floor first of all, left knee on the bench, right leg out to the side. I'm going to use the bench as a base of support, but most of my weight is on this leg here. I'm going to lift the weight up to start off with, so this is my start position. As I draw the weight up into the rib cage, I'm just going to add that little bit of rotation at the top and then control back in. So it's draw up into the rib cage, rotate, control it back down, up, rotate, control back down. So when you're working on dumbbell scapular retractions, one of the key things is that you're not going to go too heavy on this exercise. You're working quite small muscles that sit behind the shoulder blades, and they will fatigue pretty quickly. So for these, I'm going to use a set of 2 kilo dumbbells. I'm going to set up in my address position, so normal stance, soften the knees, hinge forwards from the hips, try and keep the back nice and flat. Dumbbells drop down in front, and then what I want you to do is rotate so that your thumbs are pointing out to the side. That opens the shoulders up. Come back into retraction, pause at the top, control it back down. So we're drawing up, squeezing the back of the shoulder blades, control back down to the center. When you're doing dumbbell swings, the idea is you're going to have a dumbbell in each hand. You don't need to go too heavy for this because you want to be able to control the momentum. So you're going to start by racking the dumbbells either side of the body. Set your feet around hip width apart and really grip into the floor so you've got the stability. As you drop down into a squat, let those dumbbells drop backwards, up and through. So the idea is that the momentum drives the dumbbells up, you extend through the hips, keep the abs fired up, and control the position of the weights so they never go any higher than shoulder position. So when you're working on the dumbbell squat rotation, the idea is we're using one dumbbell. You're going to rack it up onto your shoulder first of all. You're going to set your stance just outside shoulder width, really create some tension through the ground. Come down into your squat first of all. As you come up from the squat, the idea is you're trying to load this hip and push off the hip into rotation. So it's squat, up and rotate with the press at the top, reset onto your shoulder, squat, up and press into rotation.